Celebrating Black History in 2021. We'll have details next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to City Corner. Well, Black History Month is celebrated every year in February, as you well know. And here in St. Louis, the county library has a lot to do with that. And we want to welcome Crystal Harris from the library. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you.
Hanging in there. Have you enjoyed Black History Month?
Oh, I always enjoy Black History Month. We have so much fun. The patrons, our committee, everyone is such a joyous celebration. I'm so glad we call it a Black History Month celebration.
Yeah, and there's so much that people can take advantage of. Before we get to any of that, though, I just want to ask you, because tell me a little bit about what you do for the county library. I know you were very involved with the bookmobile and other mobile services. What's that all about?
Yes, I am. I am the manager of our department called the Bookmobiles and Mobile Services Department. And we have four big truck and trailer units that we take to schools all over St. Louis County, and we park at their schools, and our teachers bring their students out, and the students check out books, and then we come once a month. We also serve seniors at retirement homes. We serve preschools. We serve people who can't get to the library, who live in areas where the library is not nearby. Basically, we serve patrons who are homebound. Basically, we go to people who cannot get to the library for one reason or another. And we love it. There's a team of us, and we're all very dedicated. We have so much fun.
That's a great service. You probably didn't notice, but I have gray hair. So what? Here's where I'm going with that. I remember a time when books was the only option you had. So I'm just wondering how it is in the library business when I know people that like don't read real newspapers. Everything is online. Has that affected you guys much?
I don't think so because the St. Louis County Library is constantly evolving with the community. So, as you know, we recently reopened and rehabbed a lot of our branches, and they were reopened and they incorporated a lot of community space. So then we can have organizations come and use our space to meet. And of course, we have technology, and we still have our patrons who are dedicated newspaper readers who come in and sit down and relax and grab the newspaper. So I think we're evolving with our patrons. So the only way it affects us is that we are always wanting to know what they need and what they like and making sure we can provide it. But we're having a lot of fun with it. Our patrons love it and we love them.
Well, I've always loved libraries, just the whole kind of atmosphere of being in a library. I want to ask you this, though. Why is it important, do you think, that a library, the St. Louis County Library in particular, play a role in celebrating Black History Month?
I think specifically in St. Louis has a very rich history of Black innovation and Black creativity. And so I think it's important to recognize that here at the local level, which is why our Black History Month celebration includes the Frankie Freeman Inspirational Award to award our local heroes who are doing so much for their community. But besides that, the library is for all, and we want to make sure that our African American patrons feel as welcome as anyone else when they come in. And we want to make sure we're giving accurate information and giving them history of their grandmothers and their grandfathers and people who have done so much to get African Americans to where they are now. So we enjoy celebrating it and we see it as a part of history as well as Black history.
Is part of it too? I mean, can you see it in people's faces sometimes when they're learning things they didn't know before
Oh,
about
absolutely.
their own history and that sort of thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. We just had an author event where we had Vivian, what was her name? Vivian Gibson. She had a book called The Last Children of Mill Creek, and Mill Creek was here in St. Louis. And
Right.
when I attended that program, I didn't know the history of it, and so absolutely, not just the patrons, we learn from it as well. So yes, it's so important. So such educational and celebration experience.
Well, there are so many activities that happen over the month of February that the county library is involved with. But I know that part of the way you pull that off is you don't just do it by yourself, right? I mean, you've partnered with a lot of other organizations, and talk a little bit about that.
Sure, sure. So we always find a way to partner with local organizations. We partner with the Black Rep, and they usually help us put on a play or put on an educational event about history. We partner with local artists. We partner with business owners. When we have our music events, we like to partner with different caterers and restaurants that serve like in the Ferguson community and serve North County. And we partner with them, and then we they bring their food to our events. This was when we could hold events in public, and so then we get to taste what they brought and what they created, and then other patrons get to taste it and they really enjoy it. So we have partnered with small businesses, self excuse me self forgive me, we partnered with all types of different organizations, small and large, to put on our celebration.
Well, books and food are two of my favorite things, so that's a great combination.
Me too.
Who, who are some of the artists or names we might recognize just off the top of your head? That
Sure. So this year we had, of course, Walter Mosley, who has written the African American Easy Rollins Mystery Series. So we were able to have him come in as our keynote speaker. Like I said, we also work with the Black Rep, and we work with Vivian Gibson. She came in to present her book. I personally got to attend a webinar about mental health, and that was hosted by Rose Jackson Beavers and her co-worker, Reverend Jermaine Alberti, and they did two presentations on mental health in the African American community that have been really popular. This night for our Set the Night to Music event, our host performance will be Rhoda G. She's very popular in the local area. And I think they had a draw your own superhero program where we partnered with local artist Shababi Boyack. Forgive me if I said it wrong, but he will teach you how to draw your own Black superhero. So I was really looking forward to that program. Um, I mean, just so many different people from all over the county
Yeah,
and
we
previous
had
too.
I had Jababi on this program years and years ago. He did a tell. I think I'm remembering correctly. You would know. You work in a library. It was a book. I think it was entitled 365 Days with Dad, and it was a picture of a black man interacting with his kid every day of the year. It was really well done.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. And I think you're right about the title. I'm pretty sure that's the book. I
Uh,
haven't read it myself, but gosh, that's
oh,
a good one. I know he
now
did a
that
TED talk too. That was really good.
um, you mentioned music, and music is so it touches everybody. Why is music such an integral part of celebrating Black History Month?
Well, I think music is an integral part because music has been an integral part of Black lives all over. Jazz, different artists, rap, all of it. Music is very much in Black culture and in Black communities. And when we have music events and when we support our local Black artists and musicians, we see a huge turnout. We see so many people come from everywhere just to listen and hear this music. And it's just, I don't know if you've ever been to one of our Set the Night to Music events, but it is a joyous occasion. People stand up and they start dancing, and it would not look like a library. You wouldn't believe that it's a library when we host these events. So the committee knew immediately that we needed to always incorporate music into our Black History Month celebrations. And they do such a good job networking and finding local artists and local musicians, and our patrons love it. It's one of the things I believe that they look forward to the most each year.
First of all, on a more serious note, you mentioned this briefly, but you talked about mental health and some activities you have that kind of relate to mental health. Can you be more specific what you're trying to address there?
Absolutely. There were three main goals when we talked about this. The first one, when I spoke to Rose about presenting at the library a virtual program about mental health, the main thing we wanted to focus on was the stigma surrounding African Americans when it comes to mental health, how they are not always receiving the care or reaching out to look for the care that they need. And I thought that was such an important topic because it relates to me, and I understand that, and I can sympathize with that. I know I've experienced it as well. So we wanted to talk about that, and just by talking about it, we think we can hope to reduce the stigma surrounding it. Another program we wanted to address using our mental health series was understanding the signs and symptoms of it. And I thought that was a good program because some people may not even realize what they're experiencing. And then Rose and I had a good long conversation about how social justice can take a toll on your mental health when you see the community suffering or when you see the community upset. Giving Black people a chance to heal and understand how to navigate the difficult emotions that come with seeing, the Black Lives Matter and seeing the things that have happened to Black people in our country. I think that um, talking about mental health can help navigate those emotions. And so that's why we want to bring that up. And plus, it's part of our theme this year, which is health and healing. And we wanted mental health is all a part of healing as well.
Do you think we're making progress when it comes to an individual's mental health about those topics that you just addressed?
I think so, because at our first program, we had about 30 participants, and they talked about different strategies that they can implement to make mental health a more popular topic. So they talked about reaching out to pastors and reaching out to your church, where a lot of Black people might go to seek counseling. If our pastors in our churches feel comfortable talking about it, then we can kind of get into our community. So I think so. I'm very optimistic. Yes.
To kind of wrap things up, I think you referred to your YouTube page a little bit earlier. Why should we go there, and what should we look for?
Hey, please definitely go to our YouTube page. You can find the webinars about African American mental health at our, St. Louis County Library YouTube page. Not just that, you can find really cute programs and activities. They have story times that are hosted by our youth services team. I believe that they will have a lot of our Black History Month programs. If you didn't get to attend virtually, then you'll be able to go on there and find a recap of what was discussed. And of course, you can always reach out and visit our website to find a link or to contact someone about how to get more information about anything that you found on the YouTube page.
So, Crystal, next time I see the St. Louis County Library bookmobile, will you be the one with the hat on driving it?
You know what? I am licensed to drive a bookmobile. I have driven bookmobiles. Yes. Am I great at it? I won't say. I'll leave that a mystery. But they are really fun to drive.
Okay. Well, next time I see it coming, I'll get out of the way.
Good idea.
Crystal Harris, thanks so much for sharing with us, and thanks for being a part of Black History Month, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And we come back in the second half. We have another member of the county library that has some insight for us to share. So stay with us here on City Corner.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
I'm Steve Potter, and welcome back to City Corner. Well, we've been talking about how the St. Louis County Library is involved every year with Black History Month. They've been doing it for some time. And Sandy Williams from the library joins us now. Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Has it been a good month?
It's been a wonderful, exciting time.
I want to ask you something about your job title. We were just talking about to Crystal, as you know, who handles the bookmobile and other mobile services. But you have a very fancy title I want to ask you about. That's Administrative Executive Assistant. What does that
Yes,
do?
I work for the library director, and she is also the CEO for the library. As you know, we have 20 branches, so I act as her liaison many times between her office, the managers, and also our library board. I handle some communication to them as well.
And who is the library director and how long have they been there?
It's Kristen Sorth, who has actually been with the library for a greater part of 20 years. She just does a wonderful, phenomenal job with keeping the library in the community and focusing on so many things that are important to all of our patrons.
You say she's been there about 20 years. Am I right? I think that's about the length of time that the library has been involved in promoting Black History Month.
Well, the library has promoted Black History Month for more than 20 years, but we did not actually have a real committee until about 22 years ago when a former library director actually put the committee together, and it brought a little more cohesion to planning the events that we have.
I have two important questions for you. Does Crystal ever let you drive the bookmobile?
Absolutely not, and we're all grateful for that.
And the second follow-up to that's a little more serious. Boy, how's the last 12 months been for you? With COVID and everything, I can't imagine what it did to you and all the other employees at the library. I'm just guessing you were shut down completely for a while. What's the last year been like?
It has been challenging, but for the most part, the library, we were shut down when St. Louis County asked everyone to shut down for that short period of time, which was last March. And about the time of May, the library was able to open, not on a complete basis, but we are able to offer services on a limited basis to our patrons. We are still able to get them books, but there's a lot more technology that comes into play with ordering the services that they want.
You just mentioned how many branches. What did you say, 20?
We do. We have actually 20 branches, so we are located throughout St. Louis County.
That sounds like a big operation. Why do you think it's so necessary?
It's very necessary, I believe, because we want to keep the connectedness to our community. Because we are tax-based, we offer services that all of the different municipalities and small cities are paying, that we might get them the things that help them in their day-to-day affairs, whether it's information or entertainment or just needing to get things that they cannot get anywhere. The library has many resources that they avail themselves to.
I want to ask you a question I asked Crystal and just kind of get your take on it. You know, libraries have changed a lot. Everything's changed a lot with technology these days. When I was little, we used to hang out in a library. People don't do the same things they used to. Have you found that you have adjustments to make in the libraries as far as how you serve people? Because people behavior is just a little different nowadays.
Absolutely. I think that libraries have evolved with the communities. Times have changed, and because the library is in the middle of all of this, we have to stay abreast of what's new, what's important to the people that we serve. And while that has been a challenge, I think the library has done a phenomenal job in meeting the needs of what our patrons need and the things that they want us to do. And so we have expanded on so many levels in offering so much more than just books and DVDs and CDs. We offer so many services, webinars and community events. And the Black History Committee has been a part of that in helping to meet the needs of what our communities are looking for.
Yeah, speaking of Black History Month, I know that St. Louis County Library, what you do, you call it a celebration. Why do you decide to call it a celebration?
Because we would love for people to understand that just because February has ended does not mean we have to stop celebrating and stop informing people on what's important in the African American community. And when you call it a celebration, we're always looking for those wonderful things that many people are not aware of, whether it's historical or whether it's contemporary. We want to let them know what's happening, even among the people who are doing new things that we want to make everyone aware of.
In the first half of the show, we talked about some of the many events, and I don't remember how many there are all together, but you at the library have partnered with other organizations and have put on everything from music things to storytelling and everything in between. But why don't you mention Frankie Freeman and what that's all about and what role that played?
Well, Frankie Freeman, when she answered the call and decided to be one of our guests in 2016, we discussed it with the committee, and she decided that it was fine when we asked her if she would lend us her name, because she'd done so much for the African American community in terms of helping to bring about changes in the housing industry, where people could live anywhere they wanted, that their money would actually take them without the barriers of systemic racism. And so having done that, which opened doors not just for African Americans, but for everyone who was discriminated against, we wanted to use her name for our keynote address yearly, because we thought she set the bar so high that we would just love to name our lecture after her, and she so graciously agreed.
Am I right? Is there some sort of Frankie Freeman Award that's associated with this?
That's correct. We also, each year, we give out the Inspirational Frankie Freeman Award, and it has gone to many people who've done wonderful things in the community, people who have addressed problems with healthcare, and people who have built up the community. And of course, this year, Mr. James Clark is getting the award. And of course, he is with the Urban League. And for many years, he has worked to help the betterment of the African American community, whether it was helping in some ways to address ways that African Americans felt disenfranchised, or fighting crime and addressing it differently. And so the committee felt that he was very deserving of the award, because he has helped the entire community by his lifelong work.
You mentioned, we were talking earlier about how some things have changed, not just of COVID, but over the years with how people use libraries and that sort of thing. And the webinars came up. Can you be a little more specific and tell me what you're doing along those lines?
Actually, webinars, because we are so in tune to technology now, the libraries cannot always house different events. And so if you offer a webinar, more people are able to connect, to get on from their place of residence or business. And we are offering at the library certain business aspects that are helping people in their careers. We are offering them much more information. Some of the things that we offer them, it would cost if they were to go to their community college or to the university. And people have to understand, go to your library first, find out if you're able to get that information, and it's the best thing for your tax dollars at work.
I I'm a big fan of storytelling. For about 5 years, I hosted the final night of the St. Louis Storytelling Festival, which I'm still sponsors. But I know you're using storytelling too, I think, to reach out to younger people.
That's exactly right. We start with our very young because, as we all know, when you are a child, you will have certain memories as you progress in age. And so we start off with storytelling that is not only popular, but there's lots of meaning, and children are able to take away from the stories things that help build up their lives, things that speak into their lives and raise their self-esteem, and things that will help them in their growth and their intellectual ability. And so the stories are meaningful, and whenever we offer these stories, that is our hope and our plan. Our purpose is to intentional help children as they progress.
One more thing, we've just got about a minute left, but I know music is another element of this. And you were doing, I think you had an event, a gospel event?
Absolutely. With local musicians and singers, Gregory Haynes, who is a local favorite because he's a guitarist, Angelo Shaw, who is a saxophonist, and Frank and Stephanie Thompson, who are local gospel singers. And all of them were fantastic. Just so much talent and just an enjoyable time for anyone who tuned in.
Sandy, I'm wondering, you do so much, the library does so much during the Black History Month celebration. Do you start working on next year as soon as you're done with this one?
Absolutely. There is no time to let the grass grow under our feet. We have to just be progressive, and we're so intentional, and we start looking at what can we do better, how can we serve better, and how can we make the celebration even more wonderful than it has been for these past years. So it's an exciting time, and it never gets dull or old, because it's, even though it's work, it's wonderful work. We enjoy it, and we know that our patrons enjoy it as well.
You must get a feeling how it affects people, what you do.
Absolutely. We get comments, we get calls. Sometimes people will write letters, and they'll drop notes, and they'll say, thank you so much. Even at different events before COVID, people would just be hugging and just saying this was just the greatest thing, because they were able to come and experience a wonderful time. And people need that even now. They need it even more because of COVID. They need to feel the connectedness, and they need to feel the joy that's still out there if you look for it. There is a lot that is to be celebrated among the African American community.
Well, Sandy Williams, thank you so much for joining us and kind of reviewing what happened during Black History Month this year, the celebration, I should say, and we'll look forward to it next year. Keep up the good work. And if you see Crystal out driving that bookmobile, look out.
I sure will. Thank you so much for having me, and it's been a great, enjoyable time.
Thank you, Sandy. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of City Corner. Don't forget about the library. Check it out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.